Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's AMA. Thank you all for joining us. I'm just going to do a quick sound check. As usual, if someone in the chat, in the Telegram chat, could give me a wave to signify that you can hear me, we should be off to the races. Earth to Telegram. Okay. Okay, yeah, we should be good to go then. Welcome, guys. We have some interesting things to talk about today. I'm going to hand you over to Herman now in a moment. Diego, unfortunately, can't join us to give an update on Seedling, but I'll be able to recount what he wanted to say. We're also going to talk a little bit about Cherry University. I had a chat about it with you guys yesterday, and we'll briefly go over that. And I think that Marv has some interesting details about the progress of Cherish. So looking forward to hearing about that. And then we'll finally do the quiz later today. I think there was an issue with some of the people being paid for the past two AMA quizzes, so we'll get that sorted this afternoon as well, probably by about 7 p.m. UTC, I think. So without further ado, I'll hand you over to Herman, and he'll give us the strategic and technical update for what's going on in the Cherry project and ecosystem itself.
Hey guys. Yeah. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I had this friend a long time ago who used to do these similar calls with a worldwide audience, and he'd like to say good moment. So good moment, guys. I'm sorry I wasn't able to join the AMA last week. I was unwell. As you've seen, things have gone forth despite my absence. Cherry Labs University was a great success. We launched it yesterday. I was involved in a minor way. It was an effort of Eoghan in particular, and then other valuable team members that I won't spend too much time to praise in this call, but still deserve a shout out at some point. Cherry University is a fabulous initiative. We introduced it with a theme of promoting education and awareness of blockchain in general, and then how Cherry Labs or Cherry best expresses these features of blockchain. Getting people therefore to learn and eventually use these technologies for the betterment of their lives. Frankly, that's nothing short of the objective for us. So I think it's gone swimmingly. We released 3 courses. These 3 courses will be supplemented with new lessons. And there will be new courses and topics added, I think, on a weekly basis. We already have at least 2 other courses planned, but I guess Eoghan will have to say more about that later. I think I'll move on to some more core updates. A few weeks ago, we announced that the relay chain was not for off. Indeed, we're now at the very last moments of relay chain. With the introduction of relay chain, that we'll try to elaborate more on in blog forms some other time. We introduced a whole new set of benefits for Cherry, among which a different sort of architecture for scaling. We aren't obliged anymore or we aren't restricted by the layer 1 versus layer 2 architecture anymore. We now have a central relay chain that's responsible for the more hairy core bits, but therefore that's very lightweight. We then have layer 1s or pair chains or side chains, shard chains, however you want to call them. that are that do a bit more high-level complex work. They have their own states. They process their own abstracted data sets, their own abstracted data structures, and then we converge to the state of the whole network as conducted by the relay chain. This separation of abstract logic and a hairy common state shared among all does really provide a pretty significant benefit to running a blockchain. We analyze all the various scaling solutions we had originally planned, ZK snarks, etc. We find that still is a perfectly valid scaling mechanism. We just find this and that all the better. Relay chain, therefore, among the many benefits, the more significant benefits is that it's here. You can follow the GitHub. We are weeks away from delivery. We'll first launch it on testnet, and I expect that will be, barring unforeseen circumstances, in 2 or 3 weeks. I think we will have tested thoroughly in our development testnet and in the public testnet enough such that probably 2 weeks later, so we're aiming for mid-October, Cherish network will officially be converted to a relay chain. Once the relay chain is deployed, it'll be another probably 2 or 3 weeks. And the EVM, the first parachain proper of the Cherish network, featuring full EVM compatibility. So that means that you can deploy as it was original intention through interoperability channels, or sort of an imperfect version of this to deploy and interact with the Cherish network as if it were an Ethereum network, the largest decentralized programming ecosystem in the world. Solidity is the most stable and far better most used language to develop smart contracts. Inheriting all those tools, the development ecosystem, and frankly, the support system available to Solidity development. So, be it the tooling, the replication targets, or simply the increased stability of that tool chain versus Ink, which is our native one, will be frankly invaluable. And it will even further increase the ecosystem efforts that I'll now move on to. So 2 weeks ago, and in the week since and prior, of course, we spoke about a bunch of how our approach to ecosystem growth has changed. Initially, quite neutral and focused on volume. Later, focusing more on value, focusing on the large, what we've called flagship projects. Now we are in a sort of a limbo where most of these flagship projects are coming to fruition, either by the now or future, but quite close release of the EVM compatibility that allows some of these projects that have been waiting to launch, simply by the introduction of the relay chain, that again is the largest upgrade since our mainnet and probably for the rest of the year. I can't stress enough, the introduction of relay chain is paradigm shifting. It's nothing less than I don't know, a stark break from what we were doing, but also what has been done in blockchain for more than a decade with these incomplete interoperability solutions, or even less imperfect scaling, where the different states wouldn't coincide, but for either optimistic means, such as optimism L2, or by economic functions such as Polygon or others of the like. I'm quite excited. For those who are not familiar with the concept of parachains, I invite you to go check out Polkadot's documentation. They are very eloquent about all this. We'll also do what we can to publish some information about it and how it specifically benefits Cherry Network. And the mission of Cherry Network, which ultimately isn't to get the most general purpose blockchain, though that is something we're definitely inching closer to with relay chain introduction, but is namely getting a trustless data store to smart contracts. There's some news about that too. I won't spend too much time now to cover it. Again, to those interested and able, refer to our GitHub. We've open sourced a lot of code in the past 2 weeks. We have a total of 45 active repositories on our GitHub organization. I think at least a third of these are online, online and public. Some do cover the storage module. If you're interested, check it out. A lot of interesting work being done throughout relay chain, EVM compatibility, and storage module. I'll give you some brief updates about the ecosystem. I guess Diego isn't here, but Eoghan will have a summary of what's going on with Seedling. Seedling had 2 pretty successful IDOs. It now just went through an upgrade cycle, maybe not aesthetically, but things are moving quite well with developments in Seedling as well. Perhaps Eoghan will have some updates about that. I'm very optimistic with Cherish. We had a walkthrough of what's being done so far earlier this morning. I was very impressed. I think, though we're not at the Facebook stage yet, it is still limited both by the stack they're using. Building a decentralized service using a data store that isn't as stable as, let's say, S3 or other cloud-provided storage, but rather Cherry Network storage, is a gamble and does require extra effort. Nonetheless, Cherish is as close as perfect, given the limitations, as I'd hoped for. They're now entering a final stretch. There are some missing elements. Perhaps Marvin can describe them to you later, though I don't know if even he's aware of all the various moving pieces and what the missing bits are. But despite all that, I think we're not only quite close, but we're quite close to delivering something that's viable and usable, not the level of Facebook, but damn near close, considering that in addition to being as functional as one of those competitors, it is vastly superior in the field of data privacy, ownership, content and censorship resistance. I have a few other ecosystem updates if you want me to run through them. We mentioned a few others that I hadn't mentioned before in the past week. I'll give a brief introduction to them in case you didn't read my message on Telegram. We have a car transfer company that recently joined our ranks. They are concerned with providing, we're essentially an Uber alternative based on the blockchain to a underserved region in Eastern Europe, where Uber is inactive for a variety of reasons, among which legal reasons. They're not authorized simply by local regulations. This service, in addition to being legal and therefore able to provide a presence in that country and be therefore a viable business, is also based on the blockchain, which to me inspires, just like with Cherish, an additional level of legitimacy and an appreciation of them not just choosing to do the easy, going through the easy path that's already been tread, building the same software again and again, but rather doing it differently, benefiting themselves as a business and their clients of the benefits and only accessible through blockchain, such as once again trustlessness, censorship resistance, system level programmability, and so forth. But I won't worry about that with that too much. We have a team that I've been personally involved in funding, and we've helped them throughout. I spoke about them a while ago. They developed this system that allows anyone to deploy simple websites written in Markdown on the Train network. That was a pretty significant achievement that they made. They've now progressed into providing an API service empowered and enhanced by the Cherish storage. I don't have too much information about what they're doing now. They're collaborating with an external business about something or other. They are, though, producing a lot of transactions on the Train testnet, so that's quite positive. I'll see if I can get you some more details about them soon. Perhaps have them join on one of these calls. I mentioned in the past a few gambling projects, so gaming-related projects. Those are still quite exciting and still bustling along. There are a few that interest me in particular. There's a no-loss lottery that's quite interesting. It's simple, but yet a very good use case of what can be done with Cherry quite exclusively, as well as demonstrating the trustless feature of blockchain and expressed by the Train network. And that's quite cool. I think they're pretty close. Again, I'll defer to later to provide you more details such as timing and so forth. There are a few other gaming-related projects. There's one that's very complex that had me very agitated and excited a few months ago. That's progressing, albeit slower than expected. But again, I won't dwell again as to explaining why these dynamics happen. We take stock of it. Despite our best efforts, our job is to confront realities, move forward, and carry the project on, carry the ecosystem on. And that's that. There's nothing else we can really discuss about that. There's a few others. I think I'm now going on in a sort of list fashion that's not very interesting to you guys. I'm now available for questions if you guys have any. Otherwise, the next update you guys can expect. So we have the blog that we released a few days ago. Those changes should be going into effect now if they haven't already. We should probably release a notification on Twitter or announcement as soon as they do. So you can expect that as soon as those changes, such as namely the cutting of advisory tokens distributions and the treasury and the inflation rate. If you've missed the announcement, go ahead and read it. We detail what exactly is going on and why succinctly, but I think effectively in that blog. The follow-up blog to that should go out probably tomorrow morning. That will provide you guys a more broader comprehension of what's going on and why we're taking certain economic action. And given the price level, given the market conditions that I try to avoid talking about, I try to keep this more about what's going on operationally and technically in Cherry, rather than a commentary on things we can't frankly control. Though in this blog, we'll give you a better understanding of how we're thinking about this and how we're responding to these factors that, though we don't have control over them, we do have certain tools in our available to respond to them either internally or externally. Internally, adjusting what we do in, as a team, how we spend money and so forth, and externally, how we can help you guys navigate these markets, how we can help token holders by means such as controlling supply and the measures taken this week and outlined in the previous blog. Thank you, guys. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask.
Thanks, Herman. Very interesting. So I think that our community so far have always been very aware of the fact that there are a lot of strategic considerations going on in the background, and it's always good to be able to hear Herman give an insight into all these different moving parts, which thankfully are all moving in the right direction. So that's excellent. I think we had a few questions. Most of them I can handle. They're to do with things like internships and Cherry Labs, Blockchain University. But there was one in particular. 1 second. Herman, can you give an update on the blockchain indexer?
Right. This has been requested a few weeks ago. Boer started working on it. We then generalized the efforts into the whole team. The person responsible has unfortunately fallen. He's unavailable at this time for personal reasons. He was leading the efforts in these very last few moments of it. So we're quite close. We have the indexing feature pretty much complete. People can query and rather save the data states into a relational database and query this database, I think, through a GraphQL API. We are missing the last few visual elements of this. I'll give you once again a scale. It's within 1 or 2 weeks when we can publish at least an update of this, if not a beta version people can start using.
That's great, Herman. Thank you. I think that I'll jump into the other questions. I'll give my update, and then we'll move. I'll also relay Diego's comments, and then I'll hand you over to Marv, and Marv will give his update, and he'll also help with the quiz and set that up as well, because I have to dash to another call in a few minutes. So, with regards to the questions, what will the next courses to launch on Cherry Labs University be? Okay, so the blockchain topic, we've changed around a couple of the lessons, a couple of the courses. So what we're going to do is, in the next couple of hours, we're going to re-update the 3 existing courses on blockchain, and we're going to add another 3 courses within the blockchain area. I think that over the next week, we're going to add more to investing, so the Seedling topic, and blockchain, the Cherry topic, and we're going to then, hopefully within a fortnight from now, publish the first few courses on entrepreneurship, which is the topic that is aligned with and supported by the people in Cherry Labs specifically. So we'll talk a lot about a very broad range of things, but to give you an idea of the kind of the theoretical grounding of each of the topics, it's that Seedling discusses things from the perspective, investing discusses things from the perspective of the individual retail investor. Blockchain, i.e. the Cherry topic, discusses things from the perspective of the how these projects run and the underlying technology involved. And then the third Cherry Labs entrepreneurship course, it's not specific just to entrepreneurship, but more entrepreneurship and VC. So this would be investing and participating in the crypto ecosystem from a professional perspective. How to work with or work for or work as a venture capitalist or a seed investor, how to interact with them if you're starting your own project. It's not going to be necessarily specific only to the crypto world, but it will be focused on the crypto world. But there are a lot of aspects of more traditional tech entrepreneurship which are very relevant to crypto. And I think that this will be an interesting initiative because this is a bit of going into my own personal history, but in crypto, things move so fast that people are often very focused on the fishbowl that is the crypto industry. And there's a lot of lessons from seasoned non-crypto tech entrepreneurs and VCs, which are sometimes ignored to a certain extent because, in this industry, we do everything new. And that's good because there are a lot of flaws inherent in the legacy tech business. But at the same time, we shouldn't, to quote the phrase, throw the baby out with the bathwater. And we're going to try and incorporate some of the interesting wisdom that more traditional tech companies have established and some of the lessons from their progress. So it's going to be quite interesting, and that's going to come within a fortnight. The first few courses will come within a fortnight. Other questions? Is the internship program still accepting applications? Absolutely. One word answer. Go ahead. There's another question about the Seedling dynamic token upgrade, which I'm not going to weigh into because that is a question for Diego. So what I'll do is I'll ask Diego to I'll find out who asked that question, and then I'll ask Diego to tag them in the Cherry chat within the next few hours. That's all the questions so far. I'm going to give you a very brief update on what's going on with Cherry from my perspective. I mentioned a couple of weeks ago that we're having a couple of new marketing initiatives coming to the fore. We kind of delayed them to a certain extent because we wanted to incorporate the Cherry Labs University material into that. So now we've nothing holding us back, so we can just plow on with that. So expect that this week, early next week. With regards to the university itself, we've taken on board a lot of the very feedback from some of our community, specifically our group of beta testers from among you guys, and they were very helpful. So thank you for that. I just want to say we're very grateful. And with regards to the more standard output on the business side, I think Herman, I'm not sure if you mentioned, but we're hiring quite an interesting spread of mostly technical employees. So that's healthy for the project and the ecosystem. With regards to the internship, we're probably going to start interviewing people that we have most interest in next week, I'd say. And also the newsletter, I was waiting a little bit for the newsletter to send out the latest newsletter, because I think, as Herman mentioned, there's a good update on the tokenomics developments, which will come tomorrow. So I'll try and send the newsletter out tomorrow, and that's going to have a lot in it, because a lot's been happening, and we haven't sent one out for a few minutes now, for a little while. So with all that in the book, I'm going to hand you over to Marv in just 2 seconds after I give Diego's update. I think Diego will probably elaborate more on these points in the Seedling chat. So if you're interested, I'm sure that Diego, when he's quite busy today, he couldn't make it, but I'd say in the next couple of hours, he'll elaborate on some of them. So we wanted to just mention with regards to Seedling that for Lumi, the actual IDOs that Lumi is participating in now are happening at a much higher price. So it just goes to show that we're quite pleased with ourselves that we were the only launchpad to get involved on a seed level. So we had by far the cheapest round from any community launchpad. So we're quite happy with that. We're still tweaking some issues on the forward with Diego later this evening. But the documentation and materials that we have should be probably sent out to partners later today, and we'll probably publicize it tomorrow, I'd say. Diego and our head of content, our head of written content, Paul, were instrumental. They did all the hard work in terms of launching the university, so thanks to them. And if you haven't checked out the Investing in Web3 topic in our Cherry Labs Blockchain University, then go ahead. It's learn.cherrylabs.org. So go and have a look at that if you're interested in seedling. If any seedlers out there listening haven't checked that out, then now's a good time to do so. And we'll be building it out more. And finally, the Seedling Git book, it's going to be updated soon. We're going to be refreshing the documentation, so that new people that come on board, because we have a lot of new people coming in, very interested in seedling after the progress that we've made in recent months. And we want to make it as easy and fluid and simple for them to get involved. So as always, good progress booked by the guys, Diego and Javine over at Seedling. And yeah, very enthusiastic. So guys, I have to jump on another call with some other managers about some interesting stuff in a couple of moments. So I'm going to actually hand you over to Marv. Marv's going to tell you about Cherish, and then Marv and John will very kindly handle the quiz. And then we're going to catch up later today in terms of announcing winners, I think, from last week, and also sending out prizes, which there was a bit of a snag with last week. So we're going to just try and get that all finished off later today. Thank you very much, guys. We really appreciate you tuning in, and we appreciate all the feedback, support, critique, and energy that you give to the project every week, every day. So keep it up, and we'll try and keep it up on our end. Thanks very much, guys. See you later.
All right. Thank you for that, Eoghan. I'll be taking it from here. So as Herman mentioned earlier, we are making great progress at the back end of Cherish. We've additionally hired 2 engineers who've been introduced to the progress that we've been making over the last couple of months, last half year actually. So it's all very good to see. It's really good for us that we can keep these timelines, and we hope to be able to deliver the innovation that Cherish promises to you guys very soon. I know that with us in the team, we are very excited to get to the next stage of Cherish, because after all the development, you really want to see the product in action, and we are inching closer and closer with every day. So that's super exciting stuff to hear and see. Then, if you've been following the Cherish chat, you might have seen a couple of things. Mainly the marketing materials we put out, or anything we put out on Monday, or document describing how Cherish stacks up against other platforms, written by John. A very insightful piece. I think a lot of you who read through it, although it's a sizable document, really enjoyed it and have a better idea of our vision and where we want to place ourselves in the content markets landscape with the additional visual material. Then this will be continuing. We still have a nice amount of content stacked up and loaded to go, waiting for the suitable time to start releasing that. So yeah, that should be for the marketing. And then when it comes to onboarding, we've been making amazing progress over the last weeks. If you have a look at the Cherish Twitter or the Telegram, you've seen like every 2 days we've been posting new creators that have joined the ranks of highlighted and featured creators at Cherish. And if you look through them, you see what kind of quality is streaming towards us. So with these creators, we've started collaborating in a bit, asking for feedback, insights, and more, so that we can make the platform more suitable for their needs, because the creator is the most important thing these days. So you can expect a lot more creators to join, and we got such a backlog. I feel like I should be releasing one every day, but I don't want to spam you guys too much with that kind of information. So be on the lookout for these new creators and the rest to come. I promise you there's some amazing talent still on the way. And that should be about it for Cherish. Then I thank you all for listening in, giving us your valuable time, and for, as Eoghan said, the excitement and patience over the last couple of months. And then I think we will head over to the Telegram chat, the Cherry Network Telegram chat, for the post-AMA quiz run by John. Thank you all for listening. I wish you all an amazing day, moment, and I hope to see you soon in the Telegram chat or next week at next week's AMA. Have a good one.